Hello, it's been a while. I'm here with a very special purpose, which has to do with Palestine. But I have to preface with a story time first. If you weren't aware, the Met Gala was a bit ago, and this girl who I knew from high school was posting on a close friend's Instagram story, which for some reason I'm a part of, even though we haven't talked in 5 years. She was posting on there her favorite looks from Met Gala. She was posting quite a bit. Nothing inherently wrong with that. Just a little annoying having to tap through all those story posts. Whatever. It wasn't until you see that the only post she's posted on her public story is a tweet that goes something like this. It wasn't this exact tweet. Hers was from a Jungkook Stan account, which is arguably worse. But when I was trying to find it, I saw a few tweets like this, so it must have been a chain going on during the Met Gala. So she posted this on a public story, and then she continued to post about Met Gala in a private story. Now, when I saw this, I was like, "Oh, you're evil. You're evil, or you're stupid." And I'd argue they're different sides of the same coin. You're evil because you're trying to make yourself out to be a savior in front of all your public followers, being like, "Guys, stop posting about Met Gala, stop paying any attention to Met Gala because there are people dying," when you're posting about Met Gala. You're stupid because out of all the tweets you could have liked, retweeted, screenshotted, cropped, and posted on a different social media platform, you posted this one that is directed to people like you, babe. Not only that, but like this tweet, I just think it's a funny tweet in general because it's like Israel is just waiting for America to have another Taylor Swift concert so they can bomb Palestine. It's not that they've been doing it for hundreds of years. It's because of America and the glowing orb of Hollywood culture there that blinds people from the light that emits from the bombs in Palestine. You think maybe that there's a certain city in America that has a lot of people from a certain cultural background that would be in support of Israel. You think there's a certain city, and maybe that city has tunnels. Maybe for some reason it has tunnels that no one knows the purpose for. Maybe those tunnels, maybe they were to lead back to Israel, and maybe the Zionists there were meant to infiltrate those tunnels into that city, and maybe they're planting public spectacles to blind people, and maybe that certain spectacle was a camera, a live camera feed in the shape of a portal from the city to a certain other city in across the world. And maybe they call this live feed a portal, perhaps like in an art exhibit, because everyone's seen a live stream before, so why don't we call it an art exhibit so people will be kind of interested in it. And maybe during this kerfuffle that's distracting everyone, Israel can be like, "Let's reject another ceasefire." That's not me saying that though. That's this tweet saying that. Anyway, I got on a bit of a tangent. The reason why I'm here and what came out of that story time is that I was seeing in real time how people mislead and misinform people on social media. I was seeing through the back doors of social media activism, and it irked me quite a bit. I thought, I need to do something about this. I need to do something on my scale, no matter how big that is. And I have garnered this platform of a few thousand people for some reason, and I needed to use that for good. So here we are. I'm going to be giving you a book recommendation today that highlights what is happening in Palestine. It's a pretty popular book, but I feel like a lot of people overlook its Palestinian sympathies. So it's called The Stranger by Albert Camus. And if you don't know what The Stranger is about, it's about a man who kills an Arab and makes it all about himself. And people tend to overlook that because of other techniques it uses, which are really interesting. For example, it's postmodern unreliable narrator, which takes things to a really depressing extreme. If you think about other unreliable narrators such as Patrick Bateman in American Psycho and even Humbert Humbert in Lolita, there's a lot of charisma, I think, in their characters and the writing of the book, even though the subjects and the main characters themselves are really, really horrid people. In The Stranger, you don't get any of that charisma. You don't get anything redeeming about this character. You are just in the mind of a cold-blooded and heartless monster who kills this Arab, who may or may not have been innocent in certain activities, and makes it all about himself. He makes it all about how people judge him throughout his life and on the witness stand, and how he lives his life and doesn't care about this person that he just killed, doesn't care about his own mother's death. He doesn't really care about anything, and yet makes it all about himself. Now, I think that this perspective is super interesting because there is nothing redeeming about this character. There's nothing redeeming about the way he lives his life. I don't understand how anybody could really sympathize with this person or really look up to this way of life that he's living. Even with Patrick Bateman, it's kind of a joke, the whole Sigma male thing, but the characteristics in Patrick Bateman, the aesthetics or whatnot, is something that people can look up to on a very, very materialistic standard. In this book, there is none of that. I think this perspective, which is so unredeeming, so drawling, so flat line, is the crux of Albert Camus' message towards Palestinian sympathies. Because this perspective in our case is the mind of a Zionist, obviously. So I would definitely recommend the book. I don't have it with me right now, but it's super short. I think it's like less than 100 pages or around 100 pages. It's a super easy beginner read if you want to understand more emotionally what's happening in the world today. So I would definitely recommend. I have his other books here, which I would also recommend. I have The Plague, which is a story in parallel to COVID-19 and how we were stuck in isolation and what it does to people. I also have The Myth of Sisyphus, which I'm sure you've seen, but it's about the meme of the guy rolling a boulder up a hill just for it to fall back down again. So this is in analysis of that meme. Super topical writer, and I think it's so interesting to have a writer like this who presents super topical ideas. And I see on the internet like this wave of French hate going on. Albert Camus being a French author is why I'm talking about this. Sorry, I forgot to segue. Whether as a joke or not. But I think French people are like super admirable. Super admirable. I had a manager who was super French. I worked with him for like 2 to 3 years, and by the end of it, I still couldn't really understand his accent. He was that French. But our team normally has lunches in the office, and he would never fail to bring something that he made from home. And this thing was a pile of slop on a plate. Like, I wish I was exaggerating when I say that, but it was genuinely a pile of slop on a plate. I don't know how else to describe it. It was a concoction of vegetables, I'm pretty sure, which he like semi-mashed up. Like, he was making mashed potatoes but then like gave up halfway or something, because there was still like chunks. I don't know how to explain it except that it was a pile of slop on a plate. And it always had like one universal color, and it ranged from like greeny yellow to like a purple black. It depended on what he used in it, and without fail he would have that every lunch unless we went out for lunch. I'm not saying that all French people do this, but I found my manager to be kind of like a symbol of the general French population because he was just so French. And I find it admirable. I find it admirable that French people can make and consume slop on the daily. I find it admirable that they don't get bored of it. I find it admirable that they don't feel judged at all, that they're confident in themselves to consume slop regularly. That's all I had for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. It was kind of like a chatty / serious session because it really has been a while. It has, and I missed you guys. So how have you been? Let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you soon. I want to say soon, but I'm not really sure. But I'll see you in the next video. Bye!